used to it. Yeah, it definitely takes some getting used to. Anyway, we're talking about vision boards today because, like I said, I woke up like in the middle of the night last night. It was like 2 a.m. per usual. And I just started taking random notes. Like I had so many thoughts on vision boards for some odd reason. Um, so I'm just gonna run straight through my notes. Oh, I like that. Yeah. The first thing was we're viewing vision boards as wishful thinking instead of goals or instead of visions. And in my head, I was thinking about my actual board, and how all of these were actual goals for my 2023. Like they weren't wishful thinking as in, oh, one day maybe I'll be able to hit that, or one day I wish I could have that. Like I wasn't just crossing my fingers like, oh God, send down a miracle for me to turn into this person. Like, no, I made it as far as like, okay, what can I do in this next year to get me closer to becoming the person that I actually want to be? And that's what I put on the board. Like, it wasn't just wishful thinking. It wasn't just a hope. It was a goal. It was something that I was chasing after. So that's the first thing I wrote. And then I literally looked up at 2 a.m. I'm nuts. I literally looked at the difference between a goal and a vision because I don't feel like I knew. I knew based on my own understanding, but I didn't actually know the difference. And so a goal is an aim or desired result, whereas a vision is the faculty or state of being able to see, or the verb is to imagine. And those are very different. Like a goal is something that I'm aiming toward, right? Like I'm going to chase after this, but a vision is something that I see for myself. Like I see that that's going to happen for me. Like whatever y'all talking about, I'm not just chasing after it. I already see it for myself. So it's already mine. Like I'm already going to get it this year, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? The difference between those two? Cause it made a lot of sense in my head. And like I said, the verb for vision is imagine. So I'm putting on this board everything that I see from myself in 2023. This is my 2023. I did one for 2024, but I'm saying that because I'm talking about this specific board. So everything that I visioned for myself for 2023, I put down on this board. I'm telling you, when you look at it like that, you don't feel like a failure at the end for the things that you didn't meet because they were not necessarily goals. It's a vision board, not a goal board. It's things that you're imagining for yourself, right? Like, you can see that for yourself. So even if you don't hit it all at the end, my vision doesn't stop just because I didn't hit it in 2023. What? So many of these things crossed over into my 2024 board because it's just a vision for my life. It's not a goal for the year necessarily. It's a vision for my life. And everything, although I do think we should put realistic ones. You shouldn't just put, oh, I want my dream body, knowing good and well you're not about to hit the gym all daggone year and you got 600 pounds to lose before then. I'm just saying. I'm not actually being realistic. That's why I use a high number. But you know what I'm saying? Like you're not putting realistic things on here for a year's time. You're just putting dreams. You're putting wishes. Like that's crazy. Um anyways, I said how many things are actually goals compared to things you just wish you could have in life. When you're viewing it as a goal, you start setting things into place to achieve it. So goal vision, when you're viewing it as that, you're going to start working toward these things. So when you put it on here as a wish, you're not working for a wish. You're not preparing for a wish because a wish just boom, it's there. You're acting like it's a genie, like God's a genie. Um, but when you view it as a vision or a goal, you're going to set things into place to achieve these things. So all year, this stayed by my bed. Like right next to my bed on my little nightstand thing, I had this there. So every morning when I woke up, I saw it and I knew that these are visions for my life. So what you do today with this next 24 hours can either get you closer to achieving these things on here or further away. Like you get to decide that. I'm telling you, it helped me all year long, all year long. Having it right there helped me so much. I said, how many things on your vision board are you prioritizing time to actually work on achieving? Now, I will say there are some things. I'll be very honest. There are some things I didn't really work on because you can't work on all of it at the same time. This is a year thing. We be slowing ourselves up with that too. Like, we look at this vision board every day and we're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to do this. I have to do this. Like, chill out. It's for a year. Like, what can you do today? You know what I'm saying? So that was a big one for me. How many things on here are you actually prioritizing time to work on? So like I said, if you're just viewing it as a wish, as far as, let me find one that I'm talking about. Let's just use the book, for example, or Bible. I have a Bible on here. If you're just viewing that as in like, oh, I wish to gain better knowledge with the Bible, or I wish to read the Bible this year, but you don't actually prioritize it. Like you're making fake, you shouldn't be making wishes anyways, but they're not even realistic. Like you're setting yourself up for failure because your routine is not set up to achieve any of these things. That's a wish. That is not a goal. That is not a vision. That is a wish. If you make a wish list, then there is no guarantee that any of that will come to pass. Therefore, you shouldn't even feel like a failure at the end of the year because what you did didn't even make sense. I'm sorry if I'm coming at anybody's neck, but for real, like that doesn't make sense. Whereas when it's a vision, you're going to prioritize time to actually achieve these things. However many, don't even make a difference. But you're going to prioritize some type of time. You're going to stick something into your routine to actually get you close to these things. So like I said, example, I have Bible on here. Is there only one Bible? I thought I saw another one. There's a Bible and then a bunch of different quotes relating to God and faith and self-love and praying, and all of these things. And then I prioritize time for that. So my Bible study is right after I go to the gym. Right after I leave the gym, I'm usually out of the gym by 7. And I go into mommy mode around 7:50, 8 o'clock. So in between that time, that 50 minutes or so, I'm in my Bible. Like I'm in my word. And so people that keep saying like, oh, she's a woman of her word. Baby, I just read it. Like I put it on the daggone vision board and then I prioritize time to make it actually happen instead of just staring at it all year, expecting it to come to pass. That sounds so crazy when you put it like that. Why do we do that? I put veggies on here. I don't know if you can see it because it's backwards, but I put it's like a little refrigerator thing with vegetables. Because I really wanted to start eating healthier. Then I prioritized time for that, of course. There are some business ones on here that I didn't actually prioritize. But yeah. Anyway, yeah, the last thing I said was how many things on your vision board are you prioritizing time to actually work on achieving? I don't know why I put this one, but I had it in my head. I said, we say, well, God knows my heart. He knows I really do genuinely want this thing. And we don't understand why he's not giving it to us. But just because we want something doesn't mean we're ready to receive it. Ugh. If you caught that, that really is deep, actually. Because I hear people say that all the time. We're like, well, God knows my heart. God knows what I want. So why am I not receiving the things that my heart desires? Why am I not receiving the things that I want? You're not ready for those. You're not, like, be straight up, be for real. You're not ready for any of those things that you want. Like, you say that you're ready and you put it on your vision board, but you're not prioritizing time to actually go after that. You're not doing anything. You're just crossing your fingers and wishing for it to come to pass. Friend, that sounds crazy. I'm so sorry, but that sounds really crazy. I'm gonna leave that because I could preach on that, but I'm not going to. This perspective changes the game. Oh, I'm glad. Gotta visualize and put in the work, not just speak it into existence. Exactly. That's funny because we was talking about that yesterday. Hi, Nika. Me and Nika was talking about that yesterday, like as far as manifesting and stuff, and how there's just, when you view manifestation as just a wish, like you're just crossing your fingers and hoping that it happens, it's a little bit different than, okay, I'm manifesting this as in I'm speaking this into existence for my life and then I'm going to get it. Like, what? You have to go get it. You have to put the work in too. Nothing in life comes for free. It's not, God is not a magic genie. He's not just going to hand you things and grant your wishes just because. First of all, he's not going to put you into anything you're not prepared for. So if you know what, let me just continue going on my notes because y'all going to get me on a rampage on that one. All right. I said, how many things on your vision board are you actually ready or getting into position to receive? So that was a big one for me too. When I put a lot of these things on this board for 2023, I had to prioritize a lot of these things. Obviously, I had to prioritize time to achieve these, but I had to get myself in position to actually receive them by the end of the year. Like, are you positioning yourself to be ready for any of these things at all? Or you're just hoping, you're just putting the freaking weight loss picture there and you're just hoping that it comes to pass. You're not prioritizing time to actually make it happen. You're not getting yourself in position to even be ready, be prepared. You're just sliding it on there for aesthetics. I'm so sorry. I'm really talking to myself. Well, no, my old self. Because in 2020, going into 2023, I was ready to receive all of these. I got my natural hair. I got my quotes. I got God. I got the boo. Come on. Come on. Bye, Delicate. All right. I said, that's foul. I said, you have that big wedding ring on your board, but in what ways are you spending this first half of the year preparing yourself to be that wife? I'm not gonna preach on that because we did a whole live on that. If you didn't catch that live preparing to be a wife, we did a whole live on that. I just uploaded it the other day on YouTube, so you can go watch the whole hour and a half replay on that. But I put that as an example because I think that that's a big one for some of us. We put the wedding ring, or we put the relationship, or we put the marriage, or we put the kids, or we put whatever, but we are not actually spending time preparing for those things. Like, you just want it to come to you. You're not even ready to be a wife. Why do you have a husband on your vision board? I'm sorry. I'm going to leave that. I feel like I triggered my own self with that one. But I didn't actually. I don't have a husband on here or a ring or anything. I have this. Can y'all see that? It's like the girl standing there and the guy standing there with the phone, but you can't actually see who the guy is, which is funny. If you know my story, that's kind of funny that was on my 2023 board. But yeah, money is a good example too. Like, a lot of us, vision board wise, we're putting like big chunks of money, or we want financial freedom, I think it's on here. But are you ready for that? Like, are you actually ready for huge chunks of money? Do you know how to budget? Do you know anything about financial literacy, financial freedom, financial stability? Like, are you actually ready for those things, to receive those things? Or are you just wishing for them to come to pass? And then what? When you get them, you're not even going to know what to do with them. You're going to fumble the bag. Ooh-wee. Anyway, moving on. I said, how many things are wishful thinking compared to visions? How many things on your board can you actually see for yourself? Does any of it actually make sense for your next season? That's the big one. Does anything that you're putting on your vision board for 2024 actually make sense for what season you're walking into? Or is it just wishes? Because I really feel like a lot of us were just putting wishes on the board. That's why I keep saying that. Because putting wishes on the board doesn't really make sense unless you just want a wish board. Whereas I don't necessarily see the purpose in that. But I suppose if that's your thing, that's your thing. But how many things on this board can you actually see for yourself? How many things are visions and not just wishes? How many things are visions and not just goals? Because those are different too. I defined both of those at the beginning of the live. Does any of it actually make sense for your next season? Or are you just trying to jump into a season where you think there is happiness? Make it make sense, right? Or are you just trying to jump into a season where you think there is happiness? I think that a lot of us do that. As far as vision boards, we are printing out a bunch of pictures and we're putting a bunch of pictures together in a big collage based on what we think will make us happy. Like, based on what we think, if we achieve this, then we will find happiness. Like, we think that this is what's going to bring us happiness. If we hit all of these things, then we'll be happy. That's not necessarily true. And are you ready for those things? Are you ready for any of these things? Because if not, you're chasing after something that is not even obtainable to you. Like, you're not even able to get that because you're not prepared for that. Of course, I think I mentioned, I was talking about seasons because you guys know I'm big on seasons. I said, do you even know what makes sense for your next season? Like, when you made your vision board for 2024, do you know what season you're walking out of from 2023? In order to even know what makes sense for you to be walking into in 2024? Or are you just wishfully thinking? Because like I said, those are very different things. Hold on. Do you even know what makes sense for your next season? Do you even know what season you just came out of to even know what season could be next? It's like, I really want to preach a whole word on that. Because I think seasons are so important. And I mentioned that, ironically, like a couple days ago on live, how a lot of us, we've never even written down anything or processed anything all year. So a lot of us have no idea what we even experienced in 2023. When I say, and I'm only calling Nika out because Nika's right there. me and Nika really be like, we will write our story out. We'll be like, we know where we are in life. We know what we've been through in 2023, whether it's faith-based, relationship-based, friendship-based. Like, we're right on track. We have met ourselves where we are at right now. And that took a lot. It took a lot of healing. It took a lot of inner work, right? But I know now what makes sense for my 2024. I know now what makes sense because I know what season I just came out of. I know what the end of my 2023 was like. I know what season I just conquered, what test I just passed. So now I know I have a better understanding of what would make sense for the beginning of my 2024, or what would make sense for next year. What makes sense for me to even put on this board. Whew, Jesus. Oh, that's good, Chelsea. Thanks. Baby, was your vision board a group project with God, or you think you want it cause your feed? Period. You got to add God into the mix. God knows your plan way better. You know what? I need to make a vision board. You do. I love vision boards. Mine helped me a lot this year. This was mine from 2023. Hope everyone has a good day. Bye, Jackie Green. We definitely know the season we are walking into. 2023 was my self-reflection year and self-awareness. See, that's good. When you know what your 2023 was, when you can recognize, I'll just leave it at that. When you can recognize what season you're walking out of, you have a better understanding of what season you're walking into, or you could be walking into, and then I feel like it's much easier. It's much better to be able to make goals and visions based on that. Make it make sense. Y'all, you just got out of a toxic relationship. You're probably still in a toxic relationship, but you're putting on your vision board for 2024 marriage and kids. Now, I'm not saying that couldn't happen, but realistically speaking, that doesn't make sense. You have a lot of healing to do first. Like, you have a lot of inner work to do first. Like, why are you just putting wishes on there if that doesn't really make much sense compared to what you just walked out of at the end of 2023? Like, put realistic things on there. And in order to do that, you have to know yourself. You have to prioritize yourself. You have to sit down and process what even happened in 2023. Just make little bullet points. Okay, I went through this. Okay, I experienced this. Like, most of us, we don't even know because we're so disassociated from everything. We've gone through so daggone much that it's hard to even know what it is that we've gone through. And I say us because I'm including myself. It's hard for me sometimes because 2023 was crazy, y'all. I mean, 2023 was absurd. I quit my job in 2023. I gave up my storage unit, so I just got rid of pretty much everything or kept it somewhere. We started the podcast. Well, I became best friends with Nika. We actually met the year before, but it was like late. It was like November of whatever. So I became best friends with Nika. We started the podcast. I went full time with content creating. Like, there's so much that happened in 2023. And if I didn't sit down and process any of that, I would be a hot, overwhelmed mess right now. I wouldn't even know what the heck to put on my vision board for 2024 because I would have had no understanding of what even happened and why it went that way, right? Like, most of us, we don't even know our story. You have no idea anything that you've been through, besides the traumatic things that you can remember. But just talking in 2023, I'm not even bringing it all the way back to childhood. We all got a lot of therapy to do when it comes to childhood, that's for sure. But just talking in 2023, did you sit down before you made that vision board and process the things that you went through last year? Or did you just print out a bunch of pictures wishing for your life to completely change overnight? Anyway, I'm going to start writing my story out so I can process it. You totally should. Now, I do recommend starting with 2023. Because it's a lot. Like, when you've never done that, when you've never sat down and even processed anything that you've been through ever, like, that's a lot. It can get very, very, very overwhelming. So if you've never done that, I recommend starting with 2023. Write 2023 at the top. Make bullet points. You don't even got to journal everything out. You can. But make bullet points. Like, okay, I went through this at the top of the year. I went through this, during this month. I had this conversation. I had this fallout. I had this breakup, whatever it is. I had this financial crisis, or I had this amazing experience. I got this new job. Like, what are the highs and lows of your year? Do you know? Now I'm getting triggered because you don't know, bro. You didn't take a single day all year to focus on yourself. Like, how many days in 2023 Did you sit down in silence and say, okay, it's me time. I'm going to focus on me. Let me process what it is that I've just been through the past couple months, or what it is that I've been through, period. I really feel like there's a lot of us that can say 0 days, or maybe once a month, if that. Maybe not. I feel like a majority of people can say never. That's crazy. I will say that's one thing that put me ahead of the game as far as who I used to be. Because I mean, daily, every single day, not even just that I stuck to my morning routine, although I very much did. Even the days that I didn't get up and I didn't go work out, I still found time to sit my butt down for even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 hours. It don't matter. Sit down and take a breath and figure out what it is that you're feeling right now. Figure out what you're going through right now. What experience did you just have? How was your last week? And how can I process this? I did it every day in 2023, every single day. Agreed. So proud of myself. Period. Chelsea, Friday is the day I took the steps I needed to take back and protect my peace. Friday? This Friday? Let me not get too hyped until you answer that. You mean this Friday is done? They're leaving? Look, I'm all hype and I don't even know if that's what she's talking about. I'm on a new level. Period. All right, let me see what else I wrote. I said, I believe you know your season. So a lot of people have asked me this because I'm very passionate about knowing what season you're in. Like, I really feel like it makes a huge difference. And when people ask me, like, how do you know what season you're in? I think that's a really good question. He's late for school, baby. Anyway, I said, I believe you know your season by relationship. If you have no relationship with God, then you're trying to get the world to define your season for you. And the world can't even figure out its own seasons. That was good. I don't know where that came from at 2 a.m. in my notes, but that's so true. Like, I know what season I'm in because God tells me, because I have a solid relationship with God. I check in with God every day. So I'm on God's path. Like, I'm on his path. I'm on the path that he wants me to be on. And so it just makes sense. You know, when I'm confused as to why I'm in a certain season or what season I could possibly be in, I ask God. And I think that a lot of us, we get confused as to where we are in life, or where we're headed in life, or what season we're even in, because we don't have that relationship with God, which means we are going to the world wanting them to define what season we're in, as if the world can even define its own seasons. I'm just saying, it'd be mad hot one day, mad cold the next day. We didn't even have fall, really. We went straight to winter. Like, the world can't even figure out its own seasons. How is anybody in this world supposed to tell you what season of life you're in? The only way that you can really find out what season of life you're in is when you go to God, and not just go to God as in just say a simple prayer, but build a relationship. Because when you build that relationship, now you can talk to him as if he's your friend. I can do daily check-ins. I talk to God all the time. Again, me and Nika were just saying that yesterday. We like me and her, we are so in faith that we'll go back and forth and be like, yeah, he told me this. He told me this. Like, people probably think we talking about like an actual individual, like a man came up and no, we talking about God. Be like, yeah, I just had a conversation with him yesterday. Like, what? With God? Okay. But it makes so much sense, because when you build that relationship, it's like you just talk to God all the time. It sounds crazy for those that don't get it, but those that do, I know you know what I'm talking about. When you're just driving and you're just like talking to God, you're just like, hey God, like, this is how I felt about this, or what about this, or what do you think about this, or can I get confirmation? Like, it's like a whole relationship. It's beautiful, y'all. I'm just saying. It takes a lot of my anxiety away. I see now what people mean when they say, like, I always wonder when people are like, oh, bring your anxiety to God. Like, God will help you. And I'm like, how? How God gonna help me with anxiety and depression? Like, I don't get that. But anxiety for me, I feel like it's because I know that I'm not going through anything by myself. And in those hard seasons and those hard times when I feel overwhelmed, I bring it to God. And then I'm not anxious, because if I'm living in God's will, and I go and I fall into the mud, I know that God put me in that mud. God allowed me to go in that mud, which means God's going to pull me out of that mud. So the anxiety, the anxiousness of like, oh my gosh, how do I do this? Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. Oh my gosh, what's about to happen? What's about to happen? Like, I would freak out and just, I'd be so anxious all the time. And knowing that I can run to God with everything, I feel like it really calms my anxiety down. Like, I'm not always in defense mode. I'm not always like terrified of everything that's about to happen, because I know that I'm living in God's will. And that's a relief, because what? If you're living in God's will, then anything that happens is supposed to happen. Ooh. Vision boards and God don't go together. How you say that? What makes you think that? I said, if you're lost on what season you're in, could it be possible there's a blind spot in your faith? Ooh. This was at 2 a.m., so bear with me, because I got really deep, apparently. Could it be that there's a blind spot in your faith? So that's for, I guess, the people that say, oh, I do have a relationship with God, but I'm just kind of confused as to what season I'm in. First of all, I get confused sometimes too. But if you're lost on what season you're in, could it be, I'm just asking, could it be, what if, could it be possible there's a blind spot in your faith? What's a blind spot in your faith? Y'all know I had to explain what I meant. A blind spot is the area of the road. I looked this up. The blind spot is the area of the road that can't be seen by looking forward through your screen, your windscreen. I don't know. I don't get that, but your window. Or by using your rear view inside mirrors. So you cannot see it. You can't see moving forward. Blind spots can be large enough in size to easily block another car, motorbike, cyclist, or pedestrian from your view. What blind spots could you have in your faith? What things can be blinding you or distracting you from seeing clearly? And I answered that. I put that question in my notes and I answered it because I felt like God was asking me that. And I wrote a lot about that. I said blind spots for me previously, and I'll tell you, for the old version of myself, I felt like I had a lot of blind spots as far as, I listed them off. I said forced love and forced alignment. As in, I'm not in the right relationships. I'm not in the right friendships. I'm not in the right environment, right? Yet I'm trying to force alignment. I'm trying to make it okay that I'm here, even though I know I'm not supposed to be here. I'm trying to get them to love me the way that I love them, even though I know they're not meant to do that. Like, I had a lot of forced relationships, forced love, forced alignment. I said worldly desires / worldly plans. I mean, I don't even really need to explain that one. Worldly desires is like, you know what, you get it. I ain't gonna call myself out like that. But always finding the good in every situation to try to make it through, instead of finding the lesson to try to understand why you're in the season to begin with. I'll explain that one. I felt like that was a blind spot for me, because when I was in a certain season, I was trying to find the good, right? I was like, okay, what good can I take out of this? But for me, I was only trying to find the good in order to make it to the next season. I was never trying to find the good as in, okay, what lesson can I take out of this to better myself moving forward? I was just thirsty to get out of the season. Does that make sense? And I feel like that really held me back, because I needed the lessons that you need. Every lesson from every season. Why else would God allow you to be in that season? Every season comes with lessons, and all of those lessons build you into the person that you're supposed to be. So when you're just looking at the bright side to try to get you to the next season, you're missing it. You're missing all the lessons that you need, and that's missing parts of yourself. You can't do that. Anyways, that was a blind spot for me. I said a lack of relationship with myself, or lack of attention shown to me. I didn't know what season I was in because I didn't pay attention to myself. I don't even know me. How am I supposed to know what season of life I'm in? I don't talk to me. I don't check in with me. I don't care about me. I don't pour into me. Like, I didn't have a relationship with myself at all. So you're not going to know what season of life you're in. You want God to tell you, but you have answers inside of you too. What are you talking about? Why I just get triggered like that? Because these are my own personal list. I said, I have no idea where I'm at because I have no idea where I've been. And then another one, these are the blind spots, by the way, I'm reading my list. A blind spot in my faith for me was being so stuck on any plan. I put something in parentheses. That one can get kind of deep. Thank you. That one can get kind of deep, but being so stuck on my own plan, for one, my worldly plan. So the plan that I made for my life without God in the mix. the plan that I thought would make me happy or would bring me success, just me. I never included God into that plan, but I was so stuck on that plan that I couldn't see any potential outside of that plan. Therefore, anytime any type of opportunity came about, I was like, oh, no. I already have this. This is what I'm stuck with. Like, this is the plan that's going to bring me happiness. And I couldn't go any other direction, even though I low-key knew that I needed to. I was stuck on the plan. I was like, do you know what I'm saying? I don't know if any of this makes sense, but it makes sense to me. But I also put in parentheses, there was a point also when I realized I was so stuck on what God told me. And that hindered me a lot. Now, this one might get a little controversial. I don't know. But for me, let's say God told me, actually, I think I put an example. Okay. I said being so stuck on any plan is what I feel like held me back for a while. Whether I made the plan and I'm stuck on it, or God told me something and I'm so stuck on what he told me that he can't even tell me anything else to be able to stretch that promise. And I gave an example. I said, we get so stuck on one part of the promise that we can't even hear God trying to further explain it to us in different seasons. Example, God said, let's just say God said, I'll be drinking water. Y'all know I give very basic examples because you cannot tell me it don't make sense. I'm talking about water. Let's say God said, I'll be drinking water. When you get where you're going, there will be water there for you that you love. Let's say that's the promise God said. When you get to where you're going, there will be water there for you that you love. So I spent all this time looking for the right water. Now that we have God's promise, we're like, okay, God said I'm going to have water that I love. So now we're going out and we're trying to find water that we love. We're tasting all these different waters. Water is such a small example, but we're tasting all these different waters and we're like, oh, no, that's not it. Oh, no, that's not it because I don't love that. Anyway, so I spent all this time looking for the right water, for the water that tastes good, trying every water possible and closing off every idea or thought that doesn't include that water, right? You following? But what if God is really trying to move me somewhere that would produce the most amazing water? It really is deep when you hear what I'm saying. Like, what if he's sending me to a house with the well to produce the water there? But I can't hear him revealing that because I'm so stuck on finding the right water, on the right water coming to me, that I don't see that could be creating a blind spot. It's like you're limiting God's promise. You're making God's promise way too small. Like if God, and I told you, I give very small examples, so you cannot say that doesn't make sense. It does not take rocket science to understand what I'm talking about. I'm talking about water. If God said, where I'm sending you, there will be water that you love. And now you're walking the earth trying to find the water because you're like, God promised me water. Oh my gosh, where's the water? When's the water going to come up? Where's the water? And the whole time God's like, no, like there's a blind spot there. Because what if God really is sending you somewhere way better than you can even imagine, where the water will be produced for you? Yet you're so busy searching for the freaking water that God can't even expand that promise for you. Like you're missing it because you're so busy searching for what he told you were going to get, not understanding that God might not give it to you the way that you think it's going to look. It might not match what you got in your mind. You can only understand from your level of understanding. You cannot understand God's plan for your life. So even if it makes too much sense, that's not it. If it makes too much sense, if you really think that you figured out God's plan for your life, that's probably not it. It's probably way better than that because you cannot understand God's plan. Now, I'm not saying none of it will make sense, but if you really think you got it all figured out, baby, you missed something. I'm just saying, because God will give you way more than you can vision with your own mind. What makes you think that your mind can vision what God has for you? Huh? Like I said, I gave a small example of the water because that's a big one. Like if we're out searching for the water, what if the whole time God, now that's not to say God was lying. That's not a lie. God did say you would be sent somewhere where there was water that you love, but it didn't look like how you thought it was going to look. It didn't come in a little bottle. You know, you were out here searching for an aesthetically pleasing bottle of water that tastes really good. But the whole time God had a whole house there for you with a well that produced the water, endless water. Like endless water. You can have all the daggone water that you want. This is just an example. But you can have all the water that you want. And God's going to give it to you. It's right there. You didn't have to search at all. You just have to stay obedient and follow the steps so that you can get everything that God has for you. But instead you were so focused on what you thought you knew that you missed it. This was all at 2 a.m. and I was tripping. I was like, wow, God, you're loud. Okay, 2 a.m. messages, right? Morning. What's up, friend? Hey, Kenzie. What's up, friend? I was just thinking about you this morning because I think you said you was taking a break. And I was like, child, anyway, I'm going to tag her on Instagram tomorrow. I was like, she tried it. Anyway, I said, don't just look at your vision board. Speak it over your life. So don't just look at it for aesthetic reasons. It's like, yeah, it's so cute. Don't just look at it. Like, speak it. This is my life. Like, whatever y'all talking about, this was my 2023. You couldn't tell me no difference. This was my life. And I spoke it over myself all the time. I'm like, I've lost a lot of weight. I said that all the time, even when I didn't. I mean, everything is a lot. But I definitely wasn't where I am now. Like, I was nowhere near. I live a soft life. I pray all the time. I pray often, although that is true. But you know what I'm saying? Like, speak it over your life. Don't just sit there and put it on your board and look at it like it's a wish. It's not a wish. It's a vision. And if it ain't a vision, take it off and put a different picture on because you was on the wrong track to begin with. You was after aesthetics, and aesthetics ain't about to bring you nothing. I'm just saying. Okay, I put... I said, in what ways are you living as if that vision board is more of a dream instead of a vision? And so, of course, I had to get some definitions rolling because that's how my mind operates. What's a dream? A dream is a cherished aspiration, ambition, or ideal. Okay, well, what's aspiration? If I don't know a word, I'm like, I ain't just going to say, okay. No, it's not okay. What's the word mean? So if a dream is a cherished aspiration, aspiration is a hope or ambition of achieving something. What's ambition? Ambition is a strong desire to do or to achieve something. Whereas, so a strong desire, let's say a dream is a strong desire to achieve something. A vision is the faculty or state of being able to see or imagine. What is imagine? Imagine is to form a mental image or concept of. First of all, imagine as a verb. Imagine as a verb is to form a mental image or concept of, meaning I am visioning this in my mind. I see it. Like, I see it for me in my mind. It's not just a goal. It's not just a dream. It's not just a strong desire to achieve something. It's not saying that you don't desire it, but I didn't put weight loss on here because I just have a strong desire to look like that. No, I put weight loss on here because I see a vision for my life and my body and I'm going after it. Like, what? Those are different. I'm just saying those are very different. Miss your face and am deleting my socials so you can't. I ain't gonna see it. Anyway, child. Vision you don't just see with your eyes. It's a mental image. You can see it with your mind. You see it with your heart. It's deeper than what's in front of you. It's deeper than your current circumstances. It's a clear mental image of where you have the potential to go. There's a lot I can say about that, but I think it was pretty clear. I'll read it again. I said, vision you don't just see with your eyes. It's a mental image. You see it with your mind. You see it with your heart. It's deeper than what's in front of you. It's deeper than your current circumstances. It's a clear mental image of where you have the potential to go. I talked about that in a live before, like the difference between sight and vision. Sight is what you can see with your eyes, whereas vision is what you can see with your heart. So you should be putting visions on here. Like, what do you see with your heart? Where do you really genuinely believe that you have the potential to go? That is what you should be on your vision board. Not just dreams, not just wishes, not just, oh, I hope to be here one day. No, what do you see? What do you see? What is your vision, guys? Like, it's not a goal board. It's not even a dream board. It's a vision board. What vision do you have for your life? That's what should be on here. I said, how many things on your vision board are actually visions? How many of them did you put on the board because you truly believe in your potential to get there in 2024? In order to make those visions instead of dreams and wishful thinking, you have to discover what seasons you were in during 2023. We talked about that. I said write it and read it from an outside perspective. I think that's a big one too. When you're looking at your 2023, if you're just hopping on, we talked about that as far as you should be processing what happened to you, what seasons you conquered in 2023 before you make your vision board for 2024. Because otherwise you have no idea what season you're even walking into, because you don't know what season you just walked out of. Write it down, read it, put 2023 at the top of the paper and highlight, pinpoint, bullet point all the things that you experienced in 2023. Try to get an understanding of what seasons you went through, what seasons you conquered, right? So that you can get an actual idea of what you could possibly be walking into in 2024. So that you can actually make a realistic board and not just wishes. I said do that from an outside perspective. I think that's a big one for me because I have so many feelings all the time that I miss certain parts of my story because I'm thinking about it based on how I feel all the daggone time. Like, think about it from an outside perspective. What happened? What was your story in 2023? Like, view it as like a movie, as an outsider, as somebody viewing your story. What happened in 2023? Then I said, I'm almost done. Then I said, you have to put the work in too. You can't just present your request to God as if he's a genie. You have to be willing to do the work. And then I said, all he's asking me to do is sit down and write it out and make it plain so I can better understand it. And I act like that's too hard. And then I put the chest and counting analogy. So if you have never been on for that, I have my son count, like speak the numbers. Whatever number we spent at the grocery store. So every time we go to the grocery store, of course, he doesn't have to spend money, but he needs to, he doesn't need to. It's just our thing, right? Like when we leave the grocery store, he starts counting however much we spent. And one time recently, we spent $202 and he was so upset. He had a bad day anyway, but he was so upset. He cried like the whole way home counting. Like all of a sudden counting was such a burden to him. Like he was so stressed that he had to count that high of a number. And then I was so irritated in that moment because I'm like, Tristan, he's 7, by the way. I'm like, Tristan, you're really crying that hard because you have to count. But what did I just have to do? Like, I didn't even want to go to the grocery store. Like, I went to the grocery store. I had to make a meal plan. I had to go through all the aisles to make sure we had all the ingredients. I had to spend the money. Like, what are we talking about? And now I have to go home and put all the groceries away. And I have to be the one to cook all the meals. And all you have to do is sit in the back and count. Like, that's it. And I'm telling you, God convicted me so quick in that moment. Like, I mean, God was like, that's you. And I was like, I heard it so clear. I'm like, what do you mean that's me? And God's like, I literally died to save your life. And you cry about having to take care of yourself. Like, you swear that it's so difficult for you to wake up and pour into yourself, to take care of yourself, to prioritize yourself at all, as if I didn't pay the ultimate price. All I'm asking you to do is sit in the backseat and count. Bro, when I say, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm never complaining again. Because what are you talking about? Like, I was so upset that my son was that upset that he had to count. I'm like, you have no idea what I have to do. I didn't even want to go to the grocery store. I'm walking around with all these energies. People looking at me crazy. I'm all self-conscious. I'm anxious. Like, this is too much. I have so much that I have to pay for this. And all I'm asking you to do is sit back there and be cute and count. And God was literally like, that's it. I'm just asking you to take care of the body that I gave you. I'm just asking you to prioritize yourself so that I can speak to you, so that you can hear me. Like, just sit there and count so that I can give you the steps, so I can give you the directions. I made the food plan. I got it all listed out. I'm going to tell you exactly what you need to get at the grocery store. All you have to do is count. And you still complain. That's crazy. Anyway, I put that analogy because I said, as far as 2023 and processing the year, all he's asking you to do is sit down and write it out and make it plain. Figure out what seasons you were in so that you know what to expect in 2024, so that you know what to go after in 2024, right? Make it make sense. And we act like that's too hard, which is why I said this wasn't for y'all. I'm so sorry. It was really an attack on me. Where you have the potential to go, yeah, what can you see with your heart? Facts. I really received that message too. I'm glad. So make a brain dump list of everything that happened and use areas of growth as opportunity for 2024. Yes, I love brain dumping. Absolutely. I will say, when I started brain dumping as far as journaling, like writing it all down, it was very overwhelming to me. I had to start in the mirror, which I used to talk about that a lot when I first started content. Brain dumping was a big thing for me as far as looking in the mirror and just letting it out, just venting, like just get it out of your system. I think a lot of times we think that it's so, beneficial to vent to other people, but all you're ever going to end up is empty. Like, yeah, you feel like you got it all out, but now you're leaving the room and you're empty inside. Like, you need to look yourself in the mirror, confront yourself, speak to yourself, like let it all out, and confront yourself as far as what you're feeling. So I would look in the mirror and be like, this is what happened today, this is what I experienced today, this is how I feel today. Like, process it in real time. But yeah, brain dumping is great. Wow, good. Girl, I be crying and say never again. I feel like, right, I be crying. You talking about the grocery store analogy? Yeah. I be really sitting there boohoo crying, and we all do. We all do. We be like, oh, I don't want to wake up early. What? God literally gave you a new opportunity to wake up and go live life, go after. Like, you have a new opportunity every morning, and you're crying because you have to wake up. You're literally too lazy to wake up early to go better yourself. Like, that sounds crazy when you put it like that, bro. And I'm not saying that I don't get it. Trust me, I get it. But when you put it in that sense, it's like God paid the ultimate price for you to be able to wake up and have an opportunity to go be better and to go after a better life. Like, you have a chance to get up and go, and you're choosing not to, as if your job was so hard compared to his. Like, my son was literally in the backseat boo-hooing the whole ride home. And in my head, I'm like, you swear that was just so hard. All you have to do is count. You're just counting. Like, that's it. No, don't twist my words. I'm not saying that life is not hard. Life is very hard, especially with the wrong mindset, and especially without God. You're walking through life solo, like, ooh-wee. I'm just saying that's a really difficult, scary life to be living. But so I'm not trying to say that life is not hard. Life is very hard, but compared to the price that he paid, what are we really complaining about? Like, it just doesn't make sense when you really think about it. We're complaining about bills. We're complaining about waking up early. We're complaining about having to take a shower and wash ourselves. We're complaining about food that we have to prepare. Like, it just sounds so absurd when you put it like that. I'm just saying, I'll get out y'all's business, but oof, I feel like I get it all out when I journal too. I love journaling. I journal every day, all the daggone time. We all do. LOL. Every time you tell the story, I get convicted all over again. Me too. I'd be like, ooh, that hurt. It was one of those convictions that you just felt too. It was loud. It was like, this is really loud. Like, you did not have to yell at me like that in front of my son. Like, that was rude, but I needed it. I really needed it. And I'm telling you, it helped me so much, because now every time it's like I catch myself complaining. It's like, why are you really complaining like that, Chelsea? Like, you don't have endless amount of things to be grateful for. And that's for a lot of us, not just me. Like, we will sit around boo-hoo crying and complaining as if life is so difficult, as if we're not living in so many answered prayers in this given moment. Like, no matter what, no matter how miserable your life is in this moment, you're still living in some type of answered prayers. When is the last time you prayed to even be here another day? Like, what? There was a time I was on the bathroom floor just praying for anything. Like, just praying for the strength to get up. And now you're telling me I happily wake up at 3 a.m.? What would I complain about? I got everything and then some. Like, I was just praying for strength to get up. God gave me peace. He gave me joy. He gave me friendships that pour into me. He gave me a whole team. Bro, I just posted. If y'all don't follow me on Instagram, go follow me on Instagram. It's the same username. I just posted my whole crew. Tagged all of them. I literally tagged all of them. Not all of them, but my purpose partner, Nika, Cherry. I tagged Cherry on there. Y'all can go run and see that. Cherry's on there because he posts motivational stuff too. Like Mackenzie, I tagged my whole crew on there. And I'm like, yo, I have a whole crew of inspiring, amazing people that post content too. Like, how am I ever going to wake up and complain as if God did not literally give me all the things that I was praying for and then some? Because I didn't even think to pray for that. I didn't think to pray for beautiful aligned friendships. I never would have thought to pray for Cherry. Are you crazy? I never would have even thought I was praying for a guy that didn't treat me like crap. And God was like, okay, I'm going to give you a guy that's very respectful. He's also has the same type of mission and the same type of vision as you. Y'all are going to connect in ways you never, like, it's way beyond anything that you could even ask for. And a lot of us are like that. Even if we don't have the guy, we don't have the friends, whatever. You have something in life that you're living in right now that you once prayed for. And you got it way better than what you even prayed about. But you're missing it. You're missing it because you're so caught up crying about the things that God needs you to do, or crying about the fact that you have to sit in the back seat and count, that you're missing all of it. You're missing the fact that he missed the fact that you got a car to even be driving in right now. You in the back seat boohoo crying. We got a whole vehicle. We just spent $202 at the store. You got food to eat in the house. Like, you're about to go home and just play the game while I cook. Then you ain't got nothing to complain about. At all. We don't. We really don't when you think about it. You are beautiful. Thank you so much. I know I am honestly, and it makes me feel so ungrateful that I'm complaining and worrying. It is ungrateful when we really think about it, but I do think we should give ourselves grace. You know, y'all know I always got to keep it real. Because we're human beings, and living this life is not easy. It wasn't easy for Jesus, and it ain't easy for us. Like, it's not supposed to be easy. So I think just giving ourselves grace in that moment, but catching it, you know, like, don't sit and dwell in all of your complaints all the time. And a lot of us do. A lot of us have built a life complaining. Like, our whole life is just built on complaint after complaint after complaint. Like, you're just going from one complaint to the next complaint. Like, you don't even live. Why do you think we say survival mode? My survival mode, I was just making it by. Like, I was just trying to complain. I was trying to live life based on, like, I would wake up in the morning and just try to make it to nighttime. That's what I mean when I say survival mode. Because I didn't have anything to live for except for complaints. Like, I just complained all day. I'm like, I wish I had this. I wish I had this. I hate that I have this. I hate that I have this. Like, what do you have? What do you have? And I know it sounds so cliche, but it's real. Like, we miss so much of what we have. We miss so much of our answered prayers because we sit around complaining about all the things that we don't have. And most of the time, we don't even recognize that we don't need those things. Why do you think they say you have every last thing that you need to fulfill the vision in this very moment? You just don't recognize it because you think you need what you want. You think you need everything you want in order to start walking into your calling, and that's not right. That's not right. Somebody asked me, actually, and I got a message that somebody said that they loved how I handled that, because somebody asked me, they didn't ask me, they made a comment on a live recently. They said, why are all these TikTok preachers chilling in their car preaching? And I was like, I answered him too. I was like, I know you're just trying to be nasty, but I feel like somebody might really need to know that. And I was like, I'm sitting in my car because this is my safe space, for one, but also because I don't have the aesthetic background. And God did not call me and say, hey, Chelsea, I got a calling on your life. And as soon as you get that aesthetic background, then you can start walking in it. No. God said, hey, I got a calling on your life. Do you want to walk or do you want to sit still? Like, what's up? Do you want to join or do you not? Like, and so you just join. You don't care about all the extra stuff. And that's what holds a lot of us back. We think we need everything that we want, not realizing that we have everything that we need. I got a phone. I got the newest iPhone. I got the phone. I got the iPad. I got the vision board. I got my wisdom. I got a car to chill. Like, what are you talking about? I have everything that I need in order to start walking where God is taking me. Don't let it hold you back that you don't have everything that you want, because you have every last thing that you actually need in order to fulfill it. Anyway. Bro, a few days ago, I was griping about something, and as I was going to get food, God said, look what I've done. My house full of friends, I just wanted to come over and chill. Like, what? Never had friends. Yeah, I never had aligned friendships. I was like, dang, I'm sorry, God, for real. You have done miracles. I'm telling you, it happens all the time. It happens to all of us. Don't even feel bad. It happens to all of us. Like, we get so caught up in all of the, like, just complaining about everything in life, because life is hard. But we get so caught up in the hard that we miss all the beauty. Like, we miss all the beautiful things that we do have. It happens to me all the time. Much less nowadays, because I've learned and I've trained myself to have a heart of gratitude. Like, I trained myself. My very first thought in my mind at any given moment is positive. Not saying that I never think negative. Don't twist my words now. I have negative thoughts just like everybody else, but I've trained my mind to operate how I need it to operate. I need my mind to operate in positivity because I'm going somewhere. Like, I'm after something, and I'm not going to get there if I'm constantly thinking negative. What? You're constantly thinking negativity and then you're speaking it. That's scary. That scares me. Y'all know I'm big on that. There is so much power in the tongue. And you're just speaking negativity over your life all day long. Complaining. I don't have this. I don't have this. I don't have this. I wish I had this. I wish I had this. I hate that I have this. Like, shh. You're ruining yourself. Y'all know I said that on live yesterday. I'm like, the enemy don't even have to do anything in your life because you're ruining your own self. You're literally slowing your own self down. You're sabotaging your own self with your own words. The enemy ain't even at your neck, bro. It's you.